Echoes of the same war. My dad used to tell me stories. Not bedtime stories, real ones. Stories with no clear ending. Stories that didn't comfort. Stories that left me staring at the ceiling a little longer than usual. One of them stuck. He told it to me when I was about 10, maybe 11. I don't remember what I did, probably ignored something small, some safety detail. Something he'd warned me about that I brushed off like it didn't matter. I think I left tools out in the yard, or maybe I forgot to latch a gate. He didn't yell. He didn't scold. He just sat down beside me and said, "Let me tell you about something that happened in Vietnam." Now, that phrase carried weight in our house. Dad didn't talk about Vietnam casually. If those words left his mouth, you knew what followed was going to sit heavy. And this one did. He said it was about 6 months into his tour. 199th Light Infantry, search and destroy missions. They were pushing through jungle so thick it felt alive, breathing, always watching. Sweating through every layer, barely sleeping, eating rations that tasted like cardboard and dirt. That day, they were moving toward a village, a small one, maybe 50, 60 civilians. They'd had contact in the area days before. They suspected Viet Cong had passed through. Kicked the hornet's nest, as he put it. The tree line gave them decent cover. They fanned out, moved slow, checking huts and paths, scanning the windows and rooftops. But the village looked abandoned. No movement, no voices. Just wind in the rice paddies and the sound of their own boots in the dirt. One path cut clean through the middle of the village. Too clean. Too obvious. That made him nervous. You don't give up perfect sightlines unless you're planning to fill them with fire. But orders were orders, and they moved in. As they cleared the huts, one by one, my dad came across a little girl. She must have been my age, he said. Frozen, alone. Probably left behind in a panic. She was too scared to cry, just wide-eyed, hands clenched, knees trembling. He reached for her. Took her hand. And then, chaos. Gunfire from the left, AKs screaming in that sharp, rattling way. Grenades thumping against the dirt, splitting open the silence like lightning. He dropped behind the nearest wall, swung his M60 around, and started firing. Others joined in, laying down cover as the squad scrambled. The girl just stood there, shaking. My dad grabbed her hand again and ran. There was no time to think. No time to ask if it was smart. Just instinct. The berms in the rice paddy were the only cover, so they went for it. He dove behind the first one, pulled her down with him, checked her over quickly, no blood. No wounds. He gave her a small nod. Tapped his own helmet, then hers, motioned to stay low. Pushed her head down again gently. Then he peeked up and returned fire. Short bursts. Controlled. Suppress, relocate, survive. After a few rounds, he reached for her hand again. Ready to move. But she didn't move. He looked back. She was still there, slumped. But different. Something was wrong. The top of her head. He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. That day, he said, was the day attention to detail became more than a phrase. It was a law. And he carried it with him forever. I didn't really understand the weight of that story when I was a kid. I understood that it mattered, but not why. Not really. Fast forward 8 years. I was 18. Same MOS as my dad, reclassified by then, 21B. Different terrain. Different time. Different war. But war doesn't really change. The weapons do. The uniforms do. But the silence before an ambush? The scream of someone you can't save? That stays the same. I had a buddy in my unit. Smart guy. Good instincts. Quiet, but steady. He reminded me of my dad. Did his job well, didn't talk too much, but when he did, you listened. One day, in a small town in the middle of nowhere, things went sideways. We were clearing a compound. Nothing new. Until it was. He was first in. There was a kid, maybe 6, maybe 7. Curled up in a corner. Alone. We'd seen it before, sometimes the families just ran. Sometimes they didn't make it out. He knelt down. Spoke soft. Offered a hand. And right as she started to move, a shot rang out. Then two. The room lit up. We fired back. It was fast. Maybe 30 seconds total. Maybe less. But when the dust settled, he was holding her. She was limp. He sat there. Holding her like she was made of glass. Didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just stared. He didn't sleep much after that. Didn't eat much either. We all carry ghosts, but that one sat on his shoulder. You could see it. 6 weeks later, we hit an IED. He was in the lead Humvee. Didn't suffer. Didn't feel a thing, they said. But I think the truth is, he died 6 weeks earlier. That little girl took him with her. I've held men as they died. Heard grown soldiers call out for their mothers. I've eaten in silence with guys who didn't make jokes anymore. I've stood over flag-covered coffins, too numb to cry. But none of that hit me like finding my father. When I was 16, I came home and found him lying on his bedroom floor. That's a sound I still hear, my own voice breaking. That's a silence I still feel, too heavy for words. Funny, isn't it? I'd trained for death. Lived with it. Slept beside it. But that, seeing my dad like that. That was different. That wasn't a casualty report. That wasn't a mission gone bad. That was my dad. The man who taught me how to shoot. How to lead. How to survive. Gone. War numbs you. It wears you down like water on stone. Each mission chips a little more off you. You stop reacting. Stop flinching. Stop feeling. It's like turning the volume down on the radio, until silence becomes normal. But losing someone you love. That doesn't fade. That's not white noise. That's the kind of pain that reaches into your chest and pulls something out. Leaves a gap you don't fill. Not with time. Not with therapy. Not with medals or missions. I think about my dad often. Not just the way he died, but the way he lived. The things he carried. The things he never said. That one story about the girl, he never told it again. Once was enough. And when it happened to my buddy. When I saw the same haunted look in his eyes. I understood. And I thought, for the first and only time in my life. Thank God that wasn't me.